Cao Cao said to He Jin, corruption by eunuchs has existed from ancient times. The real problem is that emperors give them too much power and favor, leading to today's chaos. If you truly wish to punish them, just arrest the main culprits and hand them over to the judicial officials. There's no need to stir up trouble by summoning external armies. If you try to wipe them all out, the plan will surely be exposed. I believe you'll fail. He Jin grew angry and said, "Are you implying that I have selfish motives?" Sensing danger, Cao Cao backed away and thought to himself, "It will be He Jin who brings chaos to the empire." Nevertheless, He Jin secretly dispatched messengers with imperial decrees to call in troops from various regions. At that time, Dong Zhuo, the inspector of Shiliang, had failed to achieve notable success in suppressing the yellow turbans and was nearly punished by the court. He escaped punishment through bribery of the 10 eunuchs and, by forming ties with influential officials, was promoted to a high-ranking post and placed in command of 200,000 troops from the western provinces. Harboring ambitions of rebellion, he was delighted upon receiving the decree and immediately mobilized his forces. He left his son-in-law Niu Fu in charge of Shaanxi and personally led Li Ju, Guisi, Zhangji, and Fan Chou toward Luoyang. His advisor Li Ru suggested, "Though we are acting under orders, our position isn't entirely righteous. Why not submit a memorial to justify our actions and present ourselves as a force of justice?" Dong Zhuo agreed and submitted a memorial stating that eunuchs like Zhang Rang had corrupted the emperor and were the root of unrest. He declared his intention to enter Luoyang to purge them for the sake of the nation. After receiving the memorial, He Jin shared it with the other ministers. Censor Zheng Tai warned, "Dong Zhuo is like a wolf. If he enters the capital, disaster is certain." He Jin ignored him and called him overly suspicious and unfit for important matters. Lu Ji also advised, "I know Dong Zhuo well. Though he appears friendly, he is cruel and cunning. If allowed into the palace, chaos will ensue. Better to stop him now to avoid future trouble." Still, He Jin refused to listen. Zheng Tai and Lu Ji resigned, and many court officials followed. He Jin then sent someone to welcome Dong Zhuo to Mianxi, but Dong Zhuo remained stationed, observing the situation. Meanwhile, the eunuchs, led by Zhang Rang, learned that external forces were approaching and secretly discussed, "This must be He Jin's plot. If we don't act first, we'll be exterminated." They stationed 50 armed men inside the Jiada gate of the Changel Palace and entered the palace to speak with the Empress Dowager. "The Grand General has forged a decree to bring in outside troops to kill us. We beg your majesty to save us." The Empress Dowager said, "You may go and apologize to the Grand General." Zhang Rang replied, "If we go to the Chancellor's residence, we are dead. Please summon He Jin to the palace to stop the plan. If he refuses, we shall plead for death in front of your majesty." Reluctantly, the Empress Dowager issued a decree summoning He Jin to the palace. Upon receiving it, He Jin prepared to go. His secretary Chun Lin advised, "This must be a trap set by the eunuchs. Do not go. You'll be in danger." Yuan Shao added, "Your plan has already been exposed. The situation is no longer under control. Are you still going to enter the palace?" Cao Cao suggested, "Better to summon the 10 eunuchs first before making a move." He Jin laughed, "Such childish talk. I command the empire. Why would I fear a few eunuchs?" Seeing his stubbornness, Yuan Shao ordered his brother Yuan Shu to lead 500 elite soldiers, while he and Cao Cao escorted He Jin to the palace gates with swords at their sides. A eunuch announced that only the Grand General could enter and no one else. Yuan Shao and Cao Cao were barred at the entrance. He Jin marched in confidently but was surrounded by Zhang Rang, Duan Gui, and their men as soon as he reached the Jiada Gate. Zhang Rang shouted, "What crime did the empress commit that you poisoned her? During national mourning, you accused us of evil intent. You were just a butcher, but we recommended you to the emperor and brought you power. Now you repay us with betrayal? You call us corrupt. Then who is clean?" He Jin panicked and tried to flee, but the gates were shut, and the hidden assassins emerged and hacked him into two pieces. Outside, Yuan Shao, waiting anxiously, shouted, "Bring the general out." The eunuchs tossed He Jin's head over the wall and declared, "He Jin plotted treason and has been executed. Others involved are pardoned." Yuan Shao roared, "The eunuchs have murdered a high official. All loyal men, help me avenge him." Wu Kuang, one of He Jin's generals, set fire to the palace gate. Yuan Shu led troops to storm the palace, killing any eunuch on sight. Yuan Shao and Chao Chao also broke through the gates. For eunuchs were cornered near Tsuehua Tower and were chopped into pieces. Flames engulfed the palace. Zhang Rang, Duan Gui, Chao Jia, and Holan fled through the back with the Empress Dowager, the Crown Prince, and Prince of Chunlu. Lu Ji, who had not yet left office, saw the chaos and quickly donned armor and took up a spear to guard the tower. He saw Duan Gui escorting the Empress Dowager and shouted, "Duan Gui, you traitor! How dare you seize the Empress Dowager?" Duan Gui fled, and the Empress Dowager jumped from a window. Lu Ji rescued her just in time. Wu Kuang charged into the inner court and saw He Miao with sword in hand. He shouted, "You, He Miao, conspired with the eunuchs to murder your brother. Everyone, kill this traitor." The soldiers joined in and hacked He Miao to death. Yuan Shao ordered the troops to execute the families of the 10 eunuchs. Many beardless men were mistakenly killed. Chao Chao worked to extinguish the palace fires and advised the Empress Dowager to take charge temporarily. Troops were dispatched to pursue Zhang Rang and search for the missing emperor. Zhang Rang and Duan Gui fled with the emperor and Prince of Chunlu, escaping through the night to Mount Beimang. Around 3 a.m., pursuers caught up, led by the official Min Gong. He shouted, "Traitors, stop!" Realizing escape was impossible, Zhang Rang jumped into a river and drowned. The emperor and Prince of Chunlu dared not speak and hid in the reeds near the river. They remained there until dawn, cold and hungry, clutching each other and weeping silently. Prince of Chunlu said, "We cannot stay here. We must find another way." They tied their clothes together and climbed up the bank. Surrounded by thorns and darkness, unable to see, they were at a loss. Suddenly, hundreds of fireflies gathered before the emperor, lighting a path. Prince of Chunlu exclaimed, "Heaven is helping us." They followed the fireflies and eventually found a way out. By early morning, their feet were in pain, and they collapsed near a straw pile. Nearby was a farmhouse. That night, the farmer dreamed of 2 red suns falling behind his house. Startled, he got up and found a red glow by the straw pile, where the 2 royals lay. When he asked who they were, the emperor stayed silent. Prince of Chunlu pointed to the emperor and said, "This is the Son of Heaven. I am his brother. We fled the chaos caused by the eunuchs." Shocked, the farmer knelt and said, "I am Chui Yi, brother of former Minister Chui Lai. I retired here in protest of the eunuchs' corruption." He brought them inside and offered food and drink. Min Gong, meanwhile, caught Duan Gui, questioned him about the emperor's whereabouts, and upon hearing he was lost, killed Duan Gui and hung his head from his horse. He divided his men to search and continued alone. Arriving at Chui Yi's manor and seeing the head, Chui Yi inquired and then took him to see the emperor. They wept together. Min Gong said, "The empire cannot be without a ruler. Please return to the capital. The manor had only one skinny horse, which was given to the emperor. Min Gong and Prince of Chunlu shared a horse, and the three departed together. After traveling less than 3 miles, they encountered Minister Wang Yun, Grand Commandant Yang Biao, Commandant Yuan Shao, and other officials with troops. They wept in joy, sent Duan Gui's head back to the capital for public display, replaced the emperor's horse with a finer one, and escorted him back to Luoyang. Earlier, a children's rhyme in Luoyang had said, "The emperor is not the emperor, the prince is not the prince. 1,000 chariots and 10,000 horsemen flee to Beimang." Now, that prophecy had come true. Not far from the city, they saw banners blocking the sky and dust rising everywhere. A troop approached. The officials panicked, and the emperor trembled. Yuan Shao rushed forward and asked who they were. A general emerged and shouted, "Where is the Son of Heaven?" The emperor was too frightened to speak. Prince of Chunlu rode forward and yelled, "Who are you?" The man replied, "I am Dong Zhuo, inspector of Shiliang." Prince of Chunlu said, "Are you here to protect or to seize the emperor?" Dong Zhuo quickly dismounted and said, "To protect, of course." Prince of Chunlu comforted him with calm words, which greatly impressed Dong Zhuo and sparked his ambition to replace the emperor. That day, everyone returned to the palace and met with the Empress Dowager, all shedding tears. While checking palace possessions, they found the imperial seal was missing. Dong Zhuo stationed troops outside the city and entered daily with armored cavalry, acting lawlessly. Citizens lived in fear. Someone suggested eliminating Dong Zhuo, but Yuan Shao said it was not yet time. Wang Yun also advised caution. Bao Xian, however, took his troops to Mount Tai. Dong Zhuo took over He Jin's forces and secretly told Li Ru of his plan to depose the young emperor and install Prince of Chunlu. Li Ru replied, "Now is the perfect moment. Call the officials and announce the change. Execute any who oppose." The next day, Dong Zhuo held a grand banquet. All officials attended. Dong Zhuo openly declared his intention to replace the emperor. No one dared speak. Only Ding Yuan, inspector of Jingzhou, slammed the table and loudly objected. Dong Zhuo, enraged, drew his sword to kill him. Li Ru intervened, saying that politics should not be discussed during a feast. The crowd convinced Ding Yuan to leave. Lu Ji then challenged Dong Zhuo, stating he had no virtue or merit to justify deposing the emperor. Dong Zhuo again tried to kill him, but Peng Bo pleaded, "Minister Lu is widely respected. Killing him will cause panic." Wang Yun added, "Such decisions should not be made under the influence of alcohol." The event ended, and officials dispersed. Later, Dong Zhuo saw Lu Bu patrolling on horseback outside and asked who he was. Li Ru replied, "He is Lu Bu, adopted son of Ding Yuan. My lord should avoid him." The next day, Ding Yuan challenged Dong Zhuo and won. Dong Zhuo admired Lu Bu's skills. Li Su volunteered, saying he could persuade Lu Bu with eloquence, a prized horse, and treasures. He presented the red hair horse and gold and jewels at a banquet. Lu Bu was swayed, and that night he killed Ding Yuan, led his men to Dong Zhuo, and pledged loyalty, even calling him foster father. Dong Zhuo, now more powerful, appointed Lu Bu as Lord of Duding and began ruling with unchecked authority. At a later banquet, Dong Zhuo drew his sword and declared that the emperor was unfit to rule and must be replaced by Prince of Chunlu. Anyone who opposed would be executed. Yuan Shao stood up and rebuked him. The two drew swords at the table. Just as Ding Yuan died first for righteousness, Yuan Shao stands defiant, his fate uncertain. To know what happens to Yuan Shao, stay tuned for the next chapter. Summary. This chapter tells how Jin attempted to eliminate the eunuchs, but was instead assassinated when his plan was leaked. This triggered a palace coup. Yuan Shao and Cao Cao led forces to massacre the eunuchs. The emperor and prince of Chunlu fled, but were later rescued with the help of Cui, Yi, and Mingong. Dong Zhuo seized the opportunity to take control of the court, plotted to depose the emperor, and won over Lu Bu by bribing him to kill his foster father Ding Yuan. Dong Zhuo's power continued to grow, setting the stage for future chaos. 1. Lu Bu's killing of his foster father Ding Yuan is historically accurate, but the details, such as the red hair horse and gold bribes, are fictional embellishments from the novel to highlight Lu Bu's greed and lack of loyalty. 2. The red hair horse has no confirmed historical record. Lu Bu was simply known to ride a swift warhorse. 3. Dong Zhuo's cruelty is exaggerated in the novel. Historically, he was ruthless but used more political than violent means.